Hi YouTube. Hello. It's me. Anyway, um I got to play chess yesterday. And this was the game I briefly showed on stream a little while ago. I played this guy last month. Cuz there's only 10 people to play in Colorado as we know. And I drew that game even though I was completely losing. I did like a perfectly timed draw offer that I was proud of. So I came out of that with a draw somehow. But that game was a night orf, and it didn't go well for me. That's all I gotta say about that. And I talked to this person before the game, and before that game, and he said that people never play e5 against him, and I was like, man, I should have done that, because he probably doesn't know it very well either. Alright, so this time I get paired with him, and I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna get in there, and I'm gonna do it. I have only looked at, like, mainline Roy Lopez and the fried liver, because 3 people have played that against me. Okay, so, like, I don't know what I'm doing in e5, and that's gonna become abundantly clear in a minute here. Okay, so I played e4, and I played e5, and he went here, and I went here, and he went here, and I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna, like, get the only thing I know, and it's, like, it's gonna be okay. Okay, and then he takes on c6, I'm like, uh-oh, I haven't looked at this yet. And listen, I know that this is, like, one of the most popular things in chess, but I don't know. This is where not watching high-level chess tournaments has really hurt me. Like, not paying attention to or watching high-level games ever. Or never like paying attention to tournaments. This is where it hurts me, because then it's like just like completely just like I felt like such a goofball, because like I know that this is really popular, but I was like, I don't know what to do. So I thought for 10 minutes, and I took with the D pawn, which is good, I guess. And then he castled, and then I thought for another 10 minutes. And I played the only natural looking move that's bad. So f6 is good here, bishop g4 is good here, queen d6 is good here, bishop d6 is here, queen f6 is good here, bishop e7 is okay, I think. Knight e7 is a good move. But I played knight f6, and now I'm losing. Like, I'm already losing. But my thinking was, here's my thinking. Before this, to this day, for some reason, I had just watched, like, a compilation of Stafford Gambits, like an Eric Rosen video. And I was like, ooh, you know what I could do for content? Is I could play this like it's a Stafford Gambit, but, like, I'm down a tempo. Because I don't know how to do this. I was never gonna play f6. I never play f6. Like, why would I do that? But, okay, so I'm, like, -2. But the thing is, I played, after knight f6, every move I played was the best move for the rest of the game, except for one move, which was technically inaccurate, but I'll explain why I played it. Okay. I don't care, Chilato. It's fine. Okay, so, like, bishop c5 is actually the best move here. And I was just hoping to get something, you know, interesting, and just bullshit my way into an attack. But, that didn't happen, because he was also playing the best moves for a long time. He played c3, and, like, I came back from, regrouping. I was like, I got up and I walked around, because I was like, god damn it, this can't be good for me. But I got back and he played this move. I was like, okay, so I'm just down a pawn, and I just don't have anything. So I'll just castle, and I'll, you know, develop my pieces and see what happens. And, you know, it's fine. So then he plays d4, and I had to think for a long time again, because I don't know. I don't really have to think a long time. I feel like bishop d6 is kind of the only move that makes sense, because this knight is just sitting on my face. I don't want to get rid of it. And then he played f3, which is also the best move. And I decided to take this knight because it feels kind of forced. Because otherwise, I mean, that is a good knight sitting on e5. And then here, what's the plan? Because, what's the plan? I played knight d7, and I played this move because I was hoping he would play f4, and then what would happen in the game would happen. And I was just thinking maybe I'll play queen e7, and I don't know, like, just try and develop my bishop somehow, and I don't know. But he played f4, which seems like, it seems like it makes sense, because he's defending a pawn. But now I play knight f5, and I would like to trade queens. Or did I say knight f5? Knight c5. And the problem is that if he does this, which he did, this trading queens is a blunder here. I'm doing just fine here. He can't defend the pawn this way because I just take anyway. Which, I was thinking he would play queen e2 or something like this, and I don't know. I was looking at this game with my opponent and with Daniel for a long time, and I kept playing Daniel. I kept actually winning against Daniel from this position, and I kept getting very strange counterplay. So I don't know. It's kind of strange that how bad his position gets when he trades queens. I'm like slightly better after we trade queens, but right now white is +2. What was I gonna do here? I was thinking like maybe queen e7, rook d8, maybe b5. I don't know. Is this the position that I was playing? I don't think this was what I was playing Daniel in. This is different. I think it was in this position instead of f4. And yeah, I kept playing c5 and b5 and sometimes c4, and then putting my knight on c5, and this d3 square is a big problem. And it's like, sure, I'm down a pawn, but I don't have any like giant gaping holes for him to take advantage of, but he does. So it's kind of hard for white to play there. But okay, he's decided to trade queens, which is just a mistake, because now if you look at his position, the e-pawn is kind of almost impossible to defend. So I thought he would play something like knight d2, and then I would play bishop g4, but yeah, here's the problem, is that his bishop can't get out now. His knight can't move because it's just attached to the e-pawn. And he can't ever play rook e1 to free the knight from defending this, because then I have this move, and I'm threatening to take on c1 and take on d2 and win a piece. And other than that, I'm also just probably have the plan to play bishop e2 to d3 and attack this pawn, so I just think black's doing well here too. But again, this is another example of 6 months ago, I would have lost this game very quickly, but now that I'm not terrified of trading queens, and I know when to trade queens, it wasn't that big of a deal. So he ended up playing bishop e3, which feels like a mistake, but also I don't know what else he does, so maybe it's good. Because now I take on e4, and his idea is that my knight has no squares, and he's on that. Let me do wait, how do I do it? There. But the knight on e4 is extremely strong, and I don't want to move it from that square anyway, and it's kind of impossible for him to challenge it, because he can't ever play this move because it just hangs a piece. And right now it's hard for him to find a move once again, because he has to develop his pieces somehow, but he can't do it this way. He played knight a3, but I think, okay, so maybe he does have knight d2 here just because he plays like this. That's pinned, so maybe that's what he should do. Yeah, that's probably what he has to do. Just get rid of that knight, because if he doesn't, then he's just much worse. But he played knight a3. And then here is where I made the one inaccuracy of the game. But if I got a redo on this game, I would still play it. I would still play this move, because I showed this game to Josh, and he liked the idea. Well, first I guess, what are chat's ideas? What would chat do here? Wait, what? Lichess isn't in the title? Oops, that's my bad. So Josh's idea was to play, and this is kind of interesting, insight into how computers work sometimes. So Josh suggested the move b5, and his idea is he just wants to play b5, and he wants to take this square away from this knight, so it has to go something like knight c2, and then you play c5, and it still has no squares, and you put the bishop on b7. But the interesting thing is with the computer is it likes to play c5 first, but these two moves transpose into each other, but the computer still will say, even though they transpose into the exact same position, it still likes the c5 move order better because it gives white more opportunities to make a mistake. So that's how the computer works sometimes. But my thinking was that if I don't play f5, then he's gonna play f5, and I just don't want that to happen. So that thinking is correct. The best move here is bishop f5. Is bishop f5. But I don't know, this move just didn't ever really pop into my head because I thought putting the pawn on f5 made more sense and just blockading with the bishop on e6, and that's my pieces are just optimally placed. And the only move I actually considered here was f5. And the thing is, with f5, he has to take on f6, and I was going to take with the pawn, and I just thought, okay, this is good. I got an equal position, and I was happy because I was losing out of the opening. And let me see what chat is saying about this position. f5, g6. Oh, you mean f5, g6, rook f4, rook d3, and white loses a piece. I don't know what we're talking about, but maybe. You like bishop f5, h3, h5. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think he would play h3 because it's just making more holes in his position, right? But I don't know, I just didn't know where I'd go from there. Well, to be perfectly honest, I only looked at f5. It was the only move I looked at. But if we look at f5, if he doesn't take, I'm actually close to winning here. That's how this game was so fucking weird, because white had to play super accurately to take advantage of the stupid shit I was doing, and if you don't, then there's just no chance. So the reason that they have to take, I thought this position would arise, and I would play king f7, maybe rook g8, f5 maybe at the right time. I don't want to do it too soon because then he'll play knight c4 and play knight e5 and have a knight on an outpost of his own, which I don't want to allow. So maybe like b5 first if I have time. But and yeah, it's opposite color bishops. I thought this would be completely equal, but I thought I would probably win somehow because I'm higher rated. So I guess he didn't like that because it did look so equal. And he thought he should still be winning or better here because of how badly I played the opening. But if he doesn't take, what does he do? He played knight c2. Every move besides taking is a blunder in this position, which is why I think f5 is so strong. So knight c2, I play c5. This knight has no squares. And here's the problem. This is why this is so terrible for white. Play a move. Find a move for white. It's impossible. Because I'm pretty much winning by force here. It's just very strange. It's not tactics, it's just strategically winning for black. Well, b4, I was just gonna play b6. And now you have to worry about this pawn being weak, and my rook can come into d3, and I just attack the light squares. That's the big problem, is that I have so much light square control, and my knight is an absolute monster on e4. And your pieces have no hope of any plans. This is -2, Mr. Plaster Hippie. So, I understand why you feel that way. It was very strange for me to realize, too, after the game. I was trying to figure out where he went wrong, and I was like, maybe f4 was wrong, maybe bishop e... I kept just having to go back farther and farther. But just strategically, this is winning for black, I think. Because I have a clear plan. I'm going to put the bishop on e6, and then maybe at some point I play this, and or bring the rooks in and double. And you can't actually challenge my rook for this file which is another thing that I have that you don't. So he played rook a to d1, and I just simply go bishop e6, and now you can't defend the a pawn. You just can't defend the a pawn. It's just an absolutely hideous position. If you ever take here, I mean, you know, the rook is just on this file forever. And I would say my knight is worth both your rooks. Pretty much. Hello, Tagbon. Have fun at karate. I know you did karate. That's interesting. Ooh, thanks for the 470 bits. Very specific number. Very poggers. But yeah, after bishop e6, he doesn't have a good move. And this was, this game wasn't super interesting for me because, okay, I played a blunder out of the opening, and then, I mean, I had to play sort of accurately for a few moves, but after that, my moves play themselves. So rook f d1 is kind of the same thing. I still play bishop e6, I think. I mean, I was going to play bishop e6, and again, like, now I'm maybe threatening to take here and take on a2, and again, if you trade, it's kind of the same thing. You just, you know, your king can't even get out and help, your knight has no squares, your bishop has no squares, and your rook is tied to a stupid pawn. It's just hideous. Rook d7 is coming? What the hell are you talking about? For me or for you? I don't want to do that. I don't have to. That's the thing, I can just wait for you to move, and weaken your position more, because you don't have a good move. How did the white knight end up on that wonderful square? It went like that. But yeah, he plays this, and I play bishop e6, and every move is losing. It's just losing. And it feels kind of disgusting that that's the case, but what he played I felt like was a blunder. But yeah, I can't find a move for him. Knight e1, knight f3, knight d2. Well, when does he have time to do that? So you want to play this move? Bishop e6. Oops. Knight e1. I mean, I just win a pawn, maybe, is good enough. I mean, I just win a pawn. I don't know. And then you want to play rook d7 or something? And then I just storm the pawns. Your rook looks nice here, but it's not doing anything, and it needs to help, you know. Knight d3 now. But, okay, but you can't do that. So I made a threat. Well, I guess it wasn't a threat, but I think I can go here. That's the problem. You can't do that. Oh, you have rook e7 here? Oh, but no, I just go king f8, king f7. And then your rook's trapped. But that's the thing, I mean, like, practically I would say this is losing, just because your pieces are so uncoordinated, and you're, like, kind of suffocating in your own filth. So, it was very sad, because, I mean, I didn't even know what to tell my opponent. Yeah, I mean, I think bishop e3 was, well, trading queens for one, I think, was a huge mistake, but even then, we were looking at variations where I get very strange looking counterplay. But, yeah, so, very, very unfortunate. So he played here, I played bishop e6, and he played a3, which is, I mean, okay, my moves just play themselves now. I play bishop b3, and currently the threat is, if he takes, I'll play this out on the board, and he plays this move, then I have this, and he can't take back, because this is checkmate. It's really, really sick. So, he did end up taking, and he played knight e1, and he's trying to do something, but now I just have bishop c4, and this is very cute, but he plays rook f3, and I just chase his rook over to the h4 square where it's doing nothing. And it's just so fucking sad, because now I play rook d1, and you can just it's just, the game is over. But all of my moves are forced. Like, I mean, like, very easy to find. Bishop c4 is easy to find. This is all easy to find. King f1, I actually played the best move here, too, so... currently, he's kind of threatening to play h3, so... So I played rook b1, making a square for the bishop and threatening to take on b2. He played h3, bishop d1. And he played g4, but... The rook is just trapped forever, no matter what he does. I don't even have to, like, try and win it, because it's just trapped there. I take on b2, but now I have this nasty knight g3. And now I'm threatening to fork the bishop and the rook. Yeah, and the rook has no squares. So he tries to at least, like, you know, only lose an exchange, but I just take on f2. And I take his rook. And all these moves were best, too. And then I just won. And he resigned here. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I was completely... I didn't feel good about this game at all. Coming out of it, because I was just like... I knew in my... I was like, I had a terrible position, but I don't know how he takes advantage of it. And I felt pretty bad, actually, after this game. Because first of all, I felt like a giant goofball for not knowing... not knowing just absolute basic theory in the most common positions ever. I mean, I just felt like a goddamn goof. But to be fair, I've been playing C5 my whole life, and I never watch GM tournaments. So, but I was shocked that I just, like, played a perfect game aside from knight f6 and f5. But I still like f5, because practically, if he doesn't take and he's just equal, which is hard to... Taking on f6 is hard mentally to do, because you had such a good position, and now it's just dead equal. Like, how is that fair? Just opposite colored bishops, and I have a strong knight, and I have full compensation. I mean, I'm not even down a pawn, so it's... Yeah, but I was just shocked. And it's like, the thing is, I don't think my moves were very hard to find. That's why it's, like, not even that impressive. I don't know. But yeah, trading the queens. Trading the queens, man. Having that as a resource and not being afraid of trading queens and, like, just like, I can't do it. Trading queens is a draw. It's like making me win a lot more games, because I understand that the chess game is not over when the queens are off. It's actually just getting started.